welcome back. Mr. Akande, former presidential aide, joins us as we discuss some of the major stories going on in the country. Thank you so much, Laulu, for being with us this morning.
Good to see you guys again.
Let's start off with this protest that is going on with the PDP, the Save Democracy. I've been calling it the Save PDP protest for some reason. It's a Save Democracy protest, and they are going to the EU, they are going to the UN building, they are going to the United States Embassy. What do you make of this?
I think they should be thoroughly ashamed of themselves that they have not understood that it takes courage and boldness to lead. Every excuse, in my view, that it is the government that is causing the problem in PDP is something that is completely baseless to me. Yes, we can see some of the movements, but PDP has shown, first of all, what Atiku Abubakar did in 2023 by going against the national consensus. That is the foundation of what has happened now. And that has followed by a series of lily-livered PDP governors and leaders who cannot stand for anything. And so, you know, I'm sure that the international community is not going to be faced by their protests. They need to be courageous and be bold and fix their own problems internally. First of all, they need to deal with Wike. Why is it impossible for them to suspend or even remove Wike from the party? As simple as that. It is clear that this guy is running the system down. And you guys are handling it with kid gloves. They're not serious.
If they take Wike out of the party, if they suspend Wike, that's half of the party gone again.
Well,
because Wike is not alone.
You have to decide what you want to do. Clearly. I mean, there is nobody who doesn't know that Wike is being used to run the party down. That is clear to everybody. What is curious is that the people who say they hold the party, they can't give this guy a fight. They can't give him a bloody nose.
Is it actually fair to say that Wike is the major problem of the PDP? Because the problems had existed, which led to what Wike
I did say it, that the problem started when Atiku Abubakar ran against the national consensus. That was what produced Wike. But the party ought to have recovered from there. If they were serious at all, if they have anybody who understands leadership, who has any vision left in PDP, 2 years is enough for them to recover.
In any case, they said the rally is it's a rally of like minds. We don't know which faction of the PDP this is, though, with participants mainly of the PDP extraction and allies who believe that democracy is under threat in Nigeria. That is the reason for their rally.
I don't think democracy is under threat in Nigeria. I think we need bold people, courageous people, people who have a vision to articulate it. You'll be surprised how many Nigerians are waiting in the wings, but there is no leadership. I have no fear that Nigeria is going to become a one-party state. It's a waste of time. We need to organize the people. We need political parties that can connect with the people. That is what is lacking.
All right, we need to have a bit of a conversation about this one. The next topic that we're going to be talking about, which is Kanu's defense. You know, the defense, and Mark, when we're watching this case unfold of Nnamdi Kanu deciding to represent himself, and then he says, "Oh, I don't feel like I have a case to answer." I say, "Oh, but you do." And then they say, "Write some kind of statement." They give him this day. The judge, we even hear the judge talking to him, like saying, "Look, you need help. You need to go talk to somebody, get some of the knowledge that you need to be able to defend yourself, because it is a little bit more complicated than you think it is." And I think I want to be able to get Laulu to talk about that. When you see this Nnamdi Kanu case and how it's unfolding, what do you make of it, and what do you think is going to happen to this man who has been in custody for so many years?
Well, I think Nnamdi Kanu is not interested in sorting this matter in the courts. You know, and we've said that. He's not interested. And all these games that he's playing...
How does he want it sorted, in your view?
But politically, you know, and I don't think that that is baseless, because in this same country, I mean, I, for instance, believe, first of all, that Nnamdi Kanu has a case to answer. I mean, we saw all these shenanigans. You know, it was public display, okay? But in this same country, we have people like Tuku Mamu, people like Sheikh Gumi, people like Bello Toji, and a ton, you know, a litany of them who are being treated with kid gloves. So, in the same country, you were able to catch Nnamdi Kanu. So, if Nnamdi Kanu is trying to play games, it makes sense. That's why I said that ultimately we have to solve this problem in a political manner.
What does that mean? What's the political solution?
Okay, in my own view, it should be something like, okay, look, we have to take the guy out of the prison, okay, and we have to get some concessions from him. He has to apologize for his wrong deeds in my book, and he has to give a commitment to peace, because you have insinuations and open claims that this is what we are doing exactly with terrorists and bandits. Why can't we do the same thing with Nnamdi Kanu? And if we want to go all the way with the rule of law, then let's do it in a way that appeals to everybody, the same set of standards. That's the point. Like I said, I believe that Kanu has a case to answer. But you cannot isolate Kanu's case when in this same country we have all these other examples. It's either we say we stick to the rule of law or we stick to a political solution. I think where we are today is to take a political solution on the Kanu matter. When you
were SA to the vice president, I remember that late President Muhammadu Buhari had to face a little bit of what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is facing right now. In fact, in President Buhari's case, it was face-to-face with Donald Trump at the time, where he said, why are they killing Christians in your country? And I remember that he said at a ministerial briefing, he said, I don't know how you people would have answered a question like that. Christian persecution, you said that you believe that this is happening, even though it is not the only reason for the insecurity. Talk to us a bit about that and where Donald Trump's statement comes into play.
Yeah, well, so I don't think that there's any use for us to deny what is a reality. Now, it's true that it's not only Christians that are being killed, but clearly there is a targeted plan that has persisted for over a decade, against Christians in specific states such as Plateau and Benue. We shouldn't deny that. Now, there are also other factors that are at play. But clearly, Christians in those places are being persecuted. Look, the people that die all the time, there was a time on Inside Sources that I had to start reading the names of the victims so that people can remember that these are also human beings like us. They have spouses, they have children, they have parents, they have aspirations, and their lives are being cut short. What happened before our very eyes. But it's a problem that this start today. So my view is that there are several ways to look at this problem. But the most important way is to take a look at it from the point of view of justice. The people who have been victims over the years, have they had any kind of justice? The answer is no. So how do we expect such people not to embrace the intervention of Mr. Donald Trump? How do you prevent such people from seeing what Mr. Trump is doing as a solution? We have a system where, in most cases, the perpetrators of this evil are not being brought to book at all. We have instances where people have given us stories where they say that they will arrest somebody and somebody makes a call to say they should be released over and over again.
So what do you think needs to happen now? Because on the one hand, yes, there is, sometimes what we have been told also by security agents is that there is always an incomplete story, and that there is also the danger of a single side. I mean,
the danger of a one-sided story.
Yes, apologies to Chimamanda, because everybody's been using that single-sided or one-sided story now for a while. And it does appear that something would have happened somewhere. Maybe it happened in such a way that nobody took note. When the reprisal comes, is on such a scale that we cannot help but take note. Right. So how do we then begin to balance this narrative? Because there's that aspect, and then there's the aspect that you've just mentioned, the fact that when even perpetrators are caught, I think it took the president to go to Benue and say, where any arrest, police, IG, well, any arrest, because it would seem that we've just taken it for granted that when these things happen, we go there, we cry, we clean our eyes, and we go, and that's the end.
And they continue.
And it continues. So how do we balance the narrative? And then secondly, how do we make sure that we follow up with perpetrators who ought to be brought to book?
Okay, so how we balance the narrative it comes down to leadership. And that's what we're asking the president to do. We're asking the president to say that, look, it's not a big deal for me whether it's Christians or Muslims or Northerners or Southerners. Nigerians are being killed. I think we can all agree about that. We can tone down the rhetoric in such a way that we can all come together. I have had some of my own friends even say, no, but you're talking about your experience, with the Boko Haram victims. What about the Muslims? And it's true. There are also Muslims who are being killed. Why it is the truth that Christians are the target, but there are a lot of Muslims being killed. It's even possible that you have more Muslim victims because this thing is happening in the north where you have more Muslims. So we need our leadership to abandon trying to deny the reality and focus on the fact that these are Nigerians that are being killed. And so let all of us agree that we need to stop these killings. We need to try to have some justice. That is where to start. And then, so what do we do, especially with this Trump thing? The president needs to embrace the offer of Mr. Trump to try and help us to solve this problem. And it's a new opportunity. I will tell you a story.
We don't have time for the story, unfortunately.
All right. Anyway, so basically, the president needs to embrace the offer of Mr.
Regardless
Trump
of the cost.
to help us.
Regardless of what it will cost us.
Not to undermine our sovereignty.
Okay.
Their involvement can make a very significant, a dramatic change in how we can curtail those killings. And then in-house, we have to ensure that there's justice.
It's a fine place to leave it. Mr. Laulu Akande, we have to thank you very much for your thoughts. He is a former presidential aide and also the presenter of Channels Television's Inside Sources, which you can catch tomorrow and Sunday. Thank you so much for coming on the program. And that's where we wrap it up this beautiful Thursday morning. Yes, can I say on a Thursday? But watch out, who will I be with tomorrow? Thank you for watching. I'm Have
a great day ahead. I'm Kayla Megwa.